Yeah, plunge attack. Oh, I died from the fall damage from the plunge attack! I died from the fall damage of the plunge attack. Alright, Best Souls 2 played in the worst possible way. Well, that's only half true, but it's definitely played in the worst possible way. I recently made my way through Bloodborne with only 1 HP and 1 stamina point on the highest Nukem Plus cycle. And I foolishly decided to tackle all the other games like this as well. However, there are several differences in Dark Souls 2 specifically that turn an already hellish experience into getting liquefied brimstone injected straight into your urethra. First of all, in this game, the areas in between boss fights tend to be greater obstacles than the boss fights themselves. And on Nukem Plus, there are additional enemies, even within boss fights. And on Nukem Plus 7, the additional health that enemies gain is turned up all the way to 11. But to truly grasp the true level of torment, enough to make Sisyphus and Tantalus happy about their own fates by comparison, we'll need to talk about negative stamina mechanics. Now, first of all, with 1 stamina point, you can only perform a single stamina consuming action at a time. 1 attack or 1 roll, and you of course can only walk and never run. However, 0 stamina is not the lowest that your stamina can be. All of the Souls games calculate your stamina consumption into the negative, meaning that heavy attacks with heavy weapons will leave you vulnerable and unable to roll or attack again for much longer. But on top of that, Dark Souls 2 has some unique and rather extreme additional negative stamina penalties. So brace yourself for this, because you might have suffered the results from these without even having been aware that they existed in the first place. Because when rolling pushes your stamina into the negative, your rolling distance is reduced, but far worse than that, your iframes are massively reduced as well. You thought that ADP was a bad mechanic in general? With 1 stamina point, even at max ADP, it's the equivalent of having it barely leveled up at all. And when attacking pushes your stamina into the negative, your damage output is reduced by about 10 to 15%, but your attack speed is massively reduced as well. Especially helpful when it's essential that you are the one getting the first attack in. So all in all, that implies that beating Dark Souls 2 with only a single stamina point curses you with all of these penalties simultaneously and all the time. Less iframes, less roll distance, slower attack speed with a lower damage output, while having 0 margin of error because of your single health point. Not to mention that fall damage is not percentage based in this game. And remember that with 1 HP you are either at full health or dead, meaning that the red tearstone ring is useless as well. Moreover, you have to keep in mind that a lot of things in this game are not percentage based, meaning that things that might be very effective on regular new game can become utterly ineffective at Nukem Plus 7. For example, poison and toxic inflict massive damage on new game, but unlike in the other games, this is a flat damage amount. 1095 for poison, which is a lot on new game, but means very little anymore on Nukem Plus 7. Heck, even some of the most powerful attacks in the game might become rather disappointing, especially when I already inflict less damage because of the negative stamina penalty. And fast moving high DPS weapons mean very little when you can only attack a single time in the first place. Sounds like fun, right? Well, it isn't. Especially when Dark Souls 2 already contains a lot of jank, and in a run like this, you're going to run into every example of it, despite the irony that you cannot even run in the first place. Because 1 HP plus 1 stamina equals a massive putrid load of pure unadulterated number 2. Even a literal superhero would shy away from answering the hero's call on this kind of journey.
Like, this is fucked beyond belief!
Alright, let's start Journey 8, meaning NG+7. And unlike regular New Game, you are in danger from the very start. And I would really like to avoid having a falcon near me. But the game doesn't give a shit about what I like, resulting in me dying 5 times before even reaching Medulla. At least one benefit of starting on max NG+ is that you can stuff your arsenal full of anything that you would like to stuff it with. And I have some big instruments in there. So you might say that, hey, at least compared to doing this run on regular New Game, the early parts of the playthrough should actually be easier like this. And the Forest of Fallen Giants is the type of area meant to be easy enough to traverse even when half asleep. After all, it's literally in its name that it's meant for rest. But, well, let me emphasize that despite the length of this video, no summary can convey what actually doing this playthrough was like. So I think that I should just let the livestream footage speak for itself until we eventually reach the first boss fight. Emphasis on eventually. Is the game even playable under these conditions? Define playable. Wow, that was not even enough. As I said, the scaling is pretty intense in Dark Souls 2. So we have to take things very slowly and methodically, because we cannot run past anything. And of course, a single mistake means death. So it's definitely beneficial to have to use this weapon setup, because it's just quicker than... Whoa, whoa! Okay, well, apparently that soldier was quicker than me. Damn it, I didn't even notice him. Oh boy. Well, at least when I die, my health cannot get any lower, right? So that's something. It's... Oh, fuck! On most playthroughs you don't really pay close attention to the moveset of those, those simple hollows, but you kinda have to under these circumstances. At the very least, it's without Champion Covenant, meaning that enemies will stop spawning after getting killed, like, what was it, 12 times or something? Hey, this might be helpful. Or will both of them get aggroed? I don't know. Fuck, they do. Okay, I had both of them at the same time. That's good. Yes! Awesome sauce. Okay, good. Now let's get rid of that guy. Great hit detection. Okay, there is a soldier coming here, but I think it's smarter to just light the bonfire. No! No! Quick, light it! Yes, okay, good. So even if I die now, it's fine. Well, we killed each other. Let's create a shortcut over here. Awesome. Okay, so there's a guy over there. Fall damage! From that little height. This little height. Okay. I have to actually climb down the ladder then. Okay, that was stupid. Ah. Okay, so we'll have to climb down. But the thing is, on New Game Plus, there is a red phantom over there. Well, if I shoot him, he simply comes walking towards me. Okay, let's hope this works. See, because that knocks him down, then you wait until he gets up again. Oh! I waited too long. Okay, that doesn't work. Crapalicious. Let's do it like this. Okay, it does knock him. It doesn't knock him flat on the ground, but it does knock him back. Ooh, but that was very close. But it does do a shit ton of damage. That's for sure. Awesome. He doesn't respawn, so that's a good thing. And I can blow these barrels up. Okay then. Hopefully these guys will not come towards me at the same time. Fuck, I hate spear hollows. No! Uh-oh, this is not good. No! Son of a fuck. Hold on, maybe if I avoid this guy... Okay, that's not gonna work. The thing is, the bastard sword bastards are also kind of... well, they are also bastards, because they have this running attack that they can do that can kill you before you can even attack them in the first place. Ah, fuckalicious. Well, that definitely worked. Don't do the running attack, please. Okay, good. Damn it, he still managed to block that. But now he shouldn't be able to survive it anymore. I spoke too soon. Son of a fuck, I hate spear hollows. What the fuck? It's son of a fuck face. Whew. Damn it, that these little hollows can be such an obstacle. Well, that's what a playthrough like this entails. Just wait until we get further on into the game. Oh my god. Damn it, I hit a wall. And now he hit me. Fan-fucking-tastic. He doesn't really react to it. What the hell? Hollows don't react to urine?
Do you ever yearn?
Yearn? Do I yearn?
I yearn.
You yearn?
Oh, yes. Yes, I yearn. Often I sit and yearn. Have you yearned?
Well, not recently.
Are alluring skulls different then? Let's take a look. That does work. That's weird. So urn and alluring skulls. I honestly thought that urn was basically just alluring skull in spell form, but apparently that's not the case. So at last we made it to the last giant, and despite it being a boss, contrary to regular low-class enemies, he was the one taking it up the ass. So it didn't take long for me to outlast the giant. However, how long was that going to last? After all, we are not yet done with the Forest of Fallen Giants, so we're not out of the woods yet. Quick. He was still alive? They blocked at the... Damn it! Not even this attack works consistently. Oh my fucking lord. The problem is the two-handed version is very slow. Let's see what the one-handed version is like. I kill one, the other one kills me. So, let's use an alluring skull. Good idea. That's better. Hey, he's still alive! Why are these regular hollows so fucking powerful? Well, that's NG+7 scaling in Dark Souls 2 for you. That didn't hit him. Hold on, let me just switch to... I need a blunt weapon for this. And lightning damage would work best. I'm not gonna ballista him. Nah. I never do that, so why start now, right? Damn it, he was still able to... I thought he was not going to be able to hit me there. I should have simply thrown an alluring skull, then he would have aimed towards the sky. I have the feeling that this playthrough was a very bad idea. So, after going through all of that shit, we encountered the first pursuer that is supposed to pursue you, but unlike Forlorn, doesn't actually do much pursuing. Because no, it's not one pursuer that you encounter throughout the game. Not that many, because with the awful pre-industrial sanitary facilities in this land, there is only room for 1/3 pursuer. And I can safely ignore the ones after this one, since we don't actually need to acquire any materials other than key items. Unfortunately, this enemy is not much of an obstacle. However, it's not merely enemies that can prevent us from making progress. Yeah, it is pretty evident that the favorite season of the Dark Souls 2 developers is fall. And although you can't control the seasons, there is such a thing as fall control, which prevents you from dying due to the slight pressure applied to your ankles. Unfortunately, no such protection exists for your back, because Gower's Ring only reduces damage taken, instead of eliminating it altogether. But at least fall control can protect my sanity somewhat by taking gravity out of the equation. Because fuck me up the motherfucker is everything else in the game like a force of nature meant to crush that poorly protected sanity into a supermassive black hole. Even my powerful weapons, boosted by my incredibly high level, still don't do enough against these armored or only of armor consisting enemies. Yeah, that is some sturdy material indeed, although not surprising given that the Bastille is known for having the best steel. At the very least, I can take my time with the first one, and then, well, not take my time waiting in the corner, since that only provides me with just enough time to rebuff, but then it also allows me to get a decent amount of damage in on the second sentinel before I'm forced to drop down. And yes, that very much requires me to have some magical armor on my ankles. But after that, finding a safe enough attack opportunity is quite complicated when you're not able to run, when you have reduced iframes when rolling, when you are extremely vulnerable after you do find an opportunity to attack, and of course while having zero margin of error in the first place. Meaning that even when a single sentinel remains, I was nervous as all hell because of how they swing their weapons around. But I am nothing if not persistent, so I made sure that these sentinels would be ruined the day they decided to thwart my progress. However, having said that, I was ruined the day that I decided to do this playthrough in the first place, because the immensely slow speed at which I was making progress was ruining my day. And believe it or not, but the very worst part of the entire playthrough was just up ahead. And getting there in the first place was already a massive pain in the dick. However, nothing could have prepared my dick for the pain that I was about to experience for hours on end. Sure, you don't tend to think much of the sinner, until she has every possible advantage over you as far as movement is concerned. I move slowly, I attack slowly, but she moves quickly, input reads your attacks, and can retaliate before I can act. However, where the mask truly slips is with the horrendous hitbox of her stab attack. Such a sin of game development. And the sinner made this sin her virtue. And my vice. I guess it makes sense, because inside her mask is a bug, not a feature. On top of that, staying close wasn't an option either, as her 2-hit combo already meant instant death since I can't dodge twice in a row quick enough. And even when you do get behind her, she swings her sword in such a wide arc that we might have to introduce the term swing to win. So all in all, surviving against the sinner at all felt virtually impossible, but much worse than her were the 2 fucking pyromancers that they felt the need to add into New Game Plus and beyond. Not to mention that my best chance for avoiding her stab attack is by dodging diagonally to the left through it. And good luck doing that while locked off, while focusing on 2 pyro dicks, while trying to either attack or avoid their attacks in the process. So all in all, long story short, fuck. Worst of all, since this is New Game Plus 7, coming back later will do nothing, given that we won't be making any actual progress as far as a build is concerned. So I wish that I could say that I simply got good, but she got her way, because I didn't manage to gut her gut, turning me into a gutter mouth, so I went down the gutter instead, or else this entire playthrough would go down the gutter, even though that's exactly where it belongs, with no ends to the endless deplorable depths that it could sink to inside. However, I felt in my gut that I somehow still was better off trying out my rotten luck against the rotten, even if I would rot 10 times over what was left of my brain at this point. Although, to be fair, I don't think I had much left to begin with, since the moment the rotten lost his arm, I lost the remainder of my brain and attacked again. What a shame. It was a good attempt. What a rotten way to die.
Damn, lost focus, life over.
But speaking of attempts, you know how often it happens that a boss fight goes really smoothly at first, but if you do fail, then all of a sudden the boss will hold your feet to the fire, and your chances of a quick victory are smashed into the ground, leading to constant failure instead. Not to mention how my lack of iframes became really evident. Which is crazy how noticeable that truly is, because I cannot find any source that indicates how large this penalty is, but it can't even be that your iframes are quote-unquote merely cut in half, Because it seems to me that it's even more extreme than that. Remember that I have done SL1 NG+7 without stat boosting gear before. And I have even beaten the game with all stats at 1. And I must say that rolling in this playthrough honestly didn't even feel that much better than in those playthroughs. Combine that with some janky hitboxes, and dying over and over like that becomes a constant source of frustration, to the point that I became convinced that not even From Software themselves understand the mechanics of this game. Well, good thing at least that you can rely a lot on spacing against the Rotten. So eventually, I did manage to obtain my first actual Great Soul. And it's about freaking time. However, I wanted to leave as much time as possible between now and another attempt at the Lost Sinner. So I decided to make my way towards the Duke's Dear Freya first.
Get the fuck out of here!
Oh, hold on. Oh nee, Nashka's weak to frost. Why is everyone stabbing me in the back? Yeah, it's easy and it does a lot of damage, but they don't need to do a lot of damage. I only have a single HP. Fuckalicious. Oh, there we have Forlorn. Can we even outrun Forlorn? No. Oh, imagine halfway through Iron Keep if Forlorn happens to invade. Of course, first of all, Nachka is standing in our way. And on most playthroughs, you can easily send her running with both of her tails between her many legs. But this time, she has a leg up over me, given that I cannot run. And then, trying to avoid her magic orbs, puts the project in projectile. Not to worry though, I could simply resort to baiting her tail attacks, which was consistent enough at least to get me halfway through the fight. And then I simply managed to avoid the projectiles by using precise timing and pure skill. Which to the untrained eye might have looked like panic rolling and pure luck, but that sounds to me like a you problem. And it might sound weird that I think that it's a shame that they didn't make Nachka a bit more difficult in New Game Plus and beyond. In fact, I wish that she would become 8 bits more difficult in New Game Plus 7, in order to turn her into Nachka the Scorpio Super NES. Because that would have been one thing that could have consoled me for all the pain that this run had to offer. In fact, even the minors were more than just a minor inconvenience this time around. Can't really aim it that properly. Hey, oh, no, I got hit by the boulder! Fuck! Ah. I'm very happy that these guys are quite slow. Ah, but they can also run! No! Now, let's hope I can at least do some damage to her before I die. Ah! Oh, what the fuck? Okay, you guys can attack Freya then, maybe. Fuck. I just want to attack Freya and then those stupid peasants are there. It's actually not even that uncommon for a throwaway boss fight, one not even worthy of the name, like Magus and his mates, to suddenly become an obstacle when playing with massive restrictions. In this case, when even a May gust of wind is enough to knock the wind out of me. But at least I do have a lot of options available to me as far as attacking is concerned. And Soul Appease appeared to be a smart choice. Were it not for the fact that it's a piece of shit when it takes an AoE bit too long to cast, given that my casting speed is affected by the negative stamina penalty as well. Fortunately, given their low health, I can cast from a distance with Dark Fog instead, after luring them away with Yearn. However, the priests really make you yearn your victory when the pews aren't enough to protect you from their pew-pews. So therefore, after finally quieting the choir, I simply went for melee attacks for the priest and Magus himself. As I said, a meaningless encounter on a regular playthrough, but during specific challenge runs, this fight isn't merely irritating, it's congregating. On a side note, there exists a very interesting weapon in this game for a playthrough like this, namely the Curved Kneel Greatsword. A weapon that specifically scales with your New Game Plus cycle. So a very interesting choice when playing on New Game Plus 7. Meaning I made sure to have it in my inventory. I didn't actually end up using it. But at least we can now make our way to the next Great Soul. And since it's fine for me to one-hand a rapier for Freya, the small spiders around her won't be able to hold a candle to my torch. So at least that is finally something that can be called pleasant. Oh fuck Alicious, I said pleasant, not peasant. You little pissant. So I also needed to add yearn to the equation again. It feels more like a puzzle game than an RPG at this point. Well, at least Freya doesn't seem too difficult under these circumstances. Unfortunately, she can act surprisingly quick, going ballistic twice in a row. And as you will see, that's not the only thing that I was unaware that could happen twice in a row. And the main issue is that I cannot get out of the way in time. Not to mention how I also cannot run, and how her ground pounding slows your movement even further. Although I suppose it makes sense that against a spider, you're bound to experience a substantial amount of lag. And then, your chances of survival are kind of up in the air, and that's a heavy burden to carry. And on top of that, along the way there is a red phantom that is neither deterred by my torch, nor attracted by yearn. Thank you Miyazaki. In fact, I'm starting to believe that Miyazaki himself is remotely controlling the game in order to troll me. Because I experienced not one, but 2 forlorn invasions twice in a row. I didn't even know that was possible. Are there any experts watching who know exactly how these invasions work? Specifically someone who is a licensed forlornophologist? Well, I guess it's a good thing to get these invasions out of the way. So that Forlorn won't invade me halfway through Iron Keep. Right? Oh, fuck Alicious. So let's not fuck up now. Okay, 1 or 2 hits. What the fuck? How did I not hit? No! How the hell did that hit the armor when I was directly in front of her? Nah, yeah, but that's not even legitimate greed. I hit her before she hit me. The game was just like, oh, that doesn't hit for no reason. Like, what the fuck? Okay, getting close again. Well, she did 1 attack in between, but that's okay, that's fine. Maybe she does it twice again. Who knows? Okay, 2 more attacks. Okay, but let's not attack twice in a row, like before. Okay. Please, just finish it. Lock on. And die, huh? Jeez, it's about fucking time. This should not have taken that many attempts. But we're finally free, yeah. Spy dear, oh dear. Let's just fight the Dragon Rider like... well, I want to say like normal, but actually it is normal to make him fall off. I did it in every run after all. He does have... well, it's not that bad. But yeah, it's obviously a massive increase compared to regular New Game, but that's obvious. Of course it is. But yeah, Dragon Riders don't have any way to attack behind them. So as long as you stick behind them, they literally can't do anything. Huh? Unless the hitbox jank is just getting you killed. Oh my god! That was like maybe with the very back, the tip of the back of his halberd or something. Son of a fuck. I always start my videos with alright. That was not alright. Alrighter maybe, but not alright. Ooh. Only just in time. Okay, so watch out for the back of his halberd. For whatever fucking reason. And the edge of the arena when I try to move around him. Oh, is he now killing himself? He's killing himself! Oh my god. I guess the Dragon Rider only knows cheese. Either he cheeses me, or he cheeses himself, or in other playthroughs he gets cheesed. But no matter what happens, there's cheese involved. Well, there was also some cheese involved taking down Lycia in a very literal way to prevent her from invading as the Nameless Usurper later on. And the Force may be with me later on in the playthrough as well. But Huntsman's cups up ahead is what happens when an irresistible force meets a, well, a very stoppable object. because this would turn out to be one of the worst areas to traverse under these circumstances. And we haven't even reached Iron Keep yet. For those wondering what COPS even is supposed to mean, it stands for Central Organization of Police Specialists Fighting Crime in a Future Time. Oh wait, my audience is way too young to get that reference. But hopefully a few of you who did not only recently leave the embryonic state behind can still appreciate it. However, no such appreciation could I possibly have for how unbelievably ass this area is under these conditions, and why it was very much intentional that I did not also choose to play with the Champions Covenant active. Because having enemies spawn only a limited amount of times would prove to be basically a necessity. And not merely in this area. This entire area can be a bit of a clusterfuck, especially when you can't run. Well, that was not even what I was referring to. This is the time that you would want to be able to run, but yeah, you can't. And then the arrow guy at me. Of course, he hits you by shooting where you're going, not where you currently are. Okay. Shit, I can't really safely use urine now. Hold on, let's do it like this. Hopefully he will kill himself. Hey, no! What the hell? Dogs are not attracted by urine? Dude, what the fuck is that kind of bullshit? They don't like urine. I mean, they would be sniffing it all over. This is stupid. So, urine is active for very long, but it doesn't attract the same enemies for whatever reason. It's very weird. Another strange, hard to understand Dark Souls 2 mechanic. Let me guess, they are attracted by alluring skulls. No, alluring skulls also don't work on dogs. Okay, that works better. Okay. Now I have to be very careful. And I have to watch out for the guy with the bow. Whoa! How did it hit? That didn't even hit visually. After this run is done, I might not be playing Dark Souls 2 for a while. Oh. Now I was too long under the poison. Son of a fuck. Now I get poop at. What a game. What a game. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, the guy's already shooting arrows. That's not good. Okay, that doesn't work. Alluring skull, I shouldn't use an alluring skull here. So let's use my own allure. Okay. Huh? Fucking what killed me? Oh, huh? The archer followed me all the way over here? What the fuck is that? That archer from before the bridge followed me across the bridge, on top of that bridge, and just killed me from behind. Son... Oh, not even son of a whore, just a son of an entire brothel. Okay, yeah, worked out. Oh, awesome, I have the key. Okay, near after the bonfire. Oh, that will immediately de-aggro the archer. Okay, that's good. Yeah, pass Rowena, that doesn't really work. But this also kinda sucks. Ah, fuck, I missed! Come on! How the fuck did I miss that? Oh, what the hell? There's another arrow guy there. Fucking hell. In Bloodborne, I did this first in... God damn it! Where does that even come from? Okay, first let's see if I can actually deal with the archer, because he should be. That little smudge over there, is that the archer? I saw some sort of a movement, so... You don't even see the actual archer, you just see some movement. Fuck, come on. Oh. Yeah, Shrine of Amana is going to be fun, exactly. Basically... Oh, come on! He fired one right before he died. Yeah, I hope that the first guy is going to despawn soon, because I killed him a lot of times. Oh, come on! I was in the backstep animation and... Fuck up the fuck. He still was able to shoot an arrow. How is that possible? God fucking damn it, what a sneeze. Okay, well. One step further. It takes me one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. Fuck, can I move past it without aggroing him? Fuck, no. Hey, what the hell? Oh, Nukem Plus does an additional enemy here. Fuck, how do I... Oh, this is fucked up. Wow, I'm alive, but there's a spell following me. Oh. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, moving. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I should actually just open up the shortcut in the cave, but am I going to survive that? But I don't even know what exactly is inside these caves. I don't remember. Fuck, multiple skeletons. Okay, this sucks. Ah, whoa, what the hell? Why would he follow me here? You know what I say? Fuck. Yeah, oh no. Where did that arrow go? Let me guess, one of the skeletons has an arrow. Dude. What the fuck, dude? How? How am I supposed to do this? There's way too much stuff here. There's way too much stuff here. I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh, she even hardly has any knockback. Because now, will she not simply fall down onto that path then? Oh, she is dead. Okay. Ah, I didn't make it! Come on! Wow, what a disaster. So I not only had to use fall control for that little drop, I even had to go and apply my buffs there as well, given that enemies can follow me all the way to the fork wall, and in this game, quitting out doesn't reset enemy positions or aggro. Also, one-shotting a skeleton lord is not as easy as you might think, not on Nukem Plus 7. In fact, damage can at least feel random as fuck in this game. Moreover, the same setup was not exactly effective for the little marrow minions. Jesus fuck, throw me a bone for fuck's sake. Well, I did have the right idea using the knockdown effect from the wind projectiles from either the Curved Dragon Greatsword or the Drakewing Ultra Greatsword. But the problem is that no strategy works well in Dark Souls 2, because this game is Dark Souls 2, doing what Dark Souls 2 does best, or worst, however you look at it. It was basically a running theme in this run, or a walking theme in this walkthrough, that whatever strategy I attempted either didn't work at all or worked completely half-assed. So in the end I kept it as bare bones as possible, blast the lords with Crystal Soul Spear, wishing on a wishing bone that they wouldn't cast themselves at the same time I did, and then use wind projectiles to air out my grievances against the remaining Bone Bros. Fortunately, they dropped the +2 clear bluestone ring for max casting speed, which I actually forgot to put in my inventory before. But unfortunately, one of the cartilage comrades evidently survived to get revenge for his fallen femur friends. Rib, rest in bits. And I foolishly thought that I could safely make my way to the fork wall, as long as I didn't call the Hammer Brothers big fat stinky jerks. Because that's commenting on their physical appearance, which hurts really bad. You know, like getting hammered. Although I had to grab several beers in order to get hammered in a different sense of the word, when even the mushroom bug didn't leave much room for me to get to the fork wall. I didn't even know they could do that. And you might also not have known that it's even possible to die against the Covetous Demon. Although I have done challenge runs before in which I died more times to Covetous Demon than to Fume Knight. So just like the winning attempt, that was not a first for me. And it definitely wasn't the first time that Earthen Peak gave me enough hair loss that I would rather refer to it as Widow's Peak. Not exactly peak content, or probably it is for you bunch of sadists, because this time around it was extra bad. As I said before, this was turning into a puzzle game. One in which any solution I could come up with didn't even provide me with consistent results. Not only do we have some of the worst enemies here, but we even have an additional desert sorceress right around the corner on the second bridge, which is only present on New Game Plus and beyond, who prevents me from fighting the Grave Warden upon the first bridge. However, I can use the fact that this is a Souls game against it, by using the magic of hit detection on walls being a rather ethereal presence beyond human understanding. Only gravity is a consistent force of nature in this franchise. And although the mannequins have some of the highest poison resistance in the entire game, Dark Fork was still enough to simply aggro them, so that I could finish them off with Forbidden Sun. Which in all honesty is actually a pretty disappointing spell, as I thought that it was the best pyromancy in the game. But you hardly get any cast, even at 60 attunement. And although it did work well enough on these enemies, its damage output has dropped off pretty significantly on New Game Plus 7. As you will see in a minute when entering the Viper's Nest, even when drained of most of its venom, because what definitely took more than a few minutes was the venomous Viper inside of it. In fact, because there are not 2 but 3 Grave Wardens before the Fog Wall, I thought that I would have no choice but to slowly kill them over and over again until they would no longer spawn anymore. However, by using fall control and moving back around to lure them away from the Fog Wall, that allowed me access to the boss without going through that kind of tedium. Although once again, not with actual consistency. However, when it comes to lack of consistency, tedium, and things taking more than just a few minutes, Mipha of all bosses was the one that made me literally want to rip my own head off. I expected many obstacles along the way in this kind of playthrough, but I never would have expected that Mipha would be the bane of my existence. But she is full of it. And as I said before, pyromancy, despite her weakness to fire, was not the way to get ahead in this fight. So why was this such an obstacle? Well, because iframes are evidently just a myth. Due to the negative stamina penalty, I simply couldn't consistently avoid her attacks due to the lack of iframes and roll distance. Now sure, I struggled against her as well back in the day when I did SL1 New Game Plus 7 without stat boosting gear, using only broken straight swords. But back then I could run and rely on roll distance to avoid her hitboxes altogether, and I was using quick attacks. But in this case, either my attacks were slow, or they would do so little damage that I wouldn't be able to survive for long enough in order to make it through the entire fight. In fact, I died so many times here that I went through all of my charcoal pine resin, and I had 71 of those on the first attempt. Yeah, this Medusa was anything but a Medusi. No, she was a painful queen instead. In the end, I was completely stumped. She was head with or without shoulders above my skill level, it seemed. So how did I eventually manage to beat her? Well, that's the thing. I don't really know. Out of pure desperation, I tried the dual smelter swords, which should be way too slow to be viable. However, somehow, some way, this happened. She's not even giving me the opportunity to test this out. Yeah, not an improvement. Not an improvement. Although that actually did good damage. Oh, it cut the tail off, okay. Oh, who knows? Who knows? What the fuck? I have her! I have her! Well, to be fair, that wasn't just the smelter swords. That wasn't even just the smelter sword, there was also a lot of luck. Because if she didn't throw her head there, who knows what the fuck? Guys, I just had victory over like almost 3 hours of fighting Miffa. What a fucking dick. Yo, you can't see it, but I'm giving him the middle finger. And rightfully so. Fucking dude, fuck up the fucking fuck. Fuck. Fuck and fuck this entire area. And speaking of smelter, my reward for being victorious is that we now enter Iron Keep. They really should have made this elevator go down, not just because that would have made more sense, but also because that would literally have taken me to hell, which is basically where we're going now. Well, even that was one hell of an understatement. Because this was an iron wall that I had to keep bashing my head into for over 4 freaking hours. At the very least, I could deal with the 2 iron creeps that invade you with relative ease. Against Sharon, you can use the Stair Wars strategy to cheese her. And you can use the Star Wars approach on Dennis to force him into the lava. Although you do need the right RNG for him to play along, that's just the way Dan is. But the Alon Knights won't leave you alone, and there are so many of them. And I can't even run past them. The only saving grace was the fact that you can knock them down on the ground with great hammers. But that only works when it's one at a time, when they don't approach you too quickly, or worse, with a stab attack. Or sometimes they're just being dicks by dicking around. Even using projectile attacks or straight up magic didn't provide me with consistent results. So the true saving grace was the limited respawn mechanic. That would eventually leave this place empty of Alon Knights and leave me all alone instead. After all, I had no choice but to skip Smelter Demon as a single tick of damage when he starts aura farming. And it's not like I can stay out of his reach by running around the edge of the arena or something. Meaning that this was a long ass section, where a single mistake would set me all the way back. So eventually I just resorted to using Climax, the most powerful hex in the game, while popping a massive collection of poppable souls. Sounds like overkill, but it kinda wasn't. Moreover, this would mean nothing if I wouldn't be able to prevent the armored turtle from creating a hole in the bridge. Because I wasn't even sure if I could jump over it with the butterfly set, since it's on the same elevation. But hey, I'm sure that would be the biggest problem in this area, right? Oh, no, not Forlorn! No! Shut up! Where is Forlorn? I don't know where he is. Why? Why Forlorn? I don't know if Forlorn can even climb ladder. He probably can. Shit, this is bad. This is bad. Yes, he can. This is absolutely completely fucked. Dude, you saw how little that did? That's how little Climax did. The best possible spell in the entire fucking game. Dude, how the hell am I going to do this? Please tell me you can be poisoned in the first place. No, I'm dead. I don't even know if he can be poisoned. Why is he so quick? And why does he have this much health? Look, it does nothing. This is so fucking horrible. No! I'm dead. No! I'm alive. What the actual fuck? No! Forlorn? No! Dude. Why is this so fucked? Ah! Forlorn, I'm making progress here. Go away. Ah! Fuck you. Oh my god, we actually survived Forlorn. Cast the strongest spell, the environment, exactly. But now we still have to deal with the turtle. Okay, how close can I get? Uh-oh, he's already doing it. No! I'm fucked. It wasn't even enough. Fuck, now we have to... Can we even get over here with the butterfly set? I hope so. But the problem is, we also need to get back and our enemies there. If only there was a way to go backwards, you know, through this door. But there's no way to do that. Okay, that works. Well, that's something at least. Uh-oh. No! I couldn't do it! Oh.
Your wings will burn in anguish.
Okay, well, at least the bridge is still intact now, so I don't have to worry about falling down. Please tell me I don't get followed. Okay. If this... You know what? I say fuck that. I'm not even gonna risk it. I don't give a fuck. What's in that chat? I don't give a fuck. There we go. There is some way to get back up there, I thought, but... I don't know, probably requires running or something. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't work. Oh! He got aggroed because of the poison! Dude. Is that really necessary? Oh, he falls down. And he doesn't die. Well, that's... a thing. But now, how do I deal with him? He blocked my plunge attack? Well, I have no choice but to kill him now. Yeah, he's quite a tank. Why does he have so much HP? Because this is Dark Souls 2. That's your reason. Okay, well, that was not what I meant to do, but that's what happened. Alright, at least you would think that I finally made some progress, right? Well, so did I. But after repeatedly getting my clock cleaned, I realized that I should have known for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for me. Because there was no way I was going to be able to go through the fog wall with all of these enemies around. And there was also no way that I was going to be able to deal with the invader to make the fog wall fog off. No matter what I did, the bell friars kept frying my balls. Meaning I had no choice but to go back to the first bonfire again and start over from the start. Then again, given that the majority of enemies no longer respawned at this point, it was actually not that dire. Regardless, I still had the entire second part of Iron Keep left to traverse. And even after going through all this trouble, I wouldn't even leave here with an Iron Keepsake. Other than untreatable mental problems. Given that every therapist I've talked to so far, after a single session, required therapy of their own. Okay, but now there's immediately a guy on the left. I need to climax him before he can drop down. Or I should get him to drop down and then climax him when he does. No, this work? Yeah, that works. Okay, good. Oh, no! 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 Why that quickly? I couldn't even pop the souls before. Son of a fuck. Shit, this sucks. Oh, I shouldn't... That's what I should... Oh, I'm stupid. I should not have picked up my bloodstain. Then I could have climaxed twice. Well, that's dumb. Okay, now I have to go with what I said. What the hell? No, thank you, lock on. Well, that was absolutely completely fucked. That was beyond fucked. Well, at least that worked. Oh. I don't think anyone is tempted, but don't try this run for yourself, guys. I'm doing this so that you guys don't have to. Wait, is the guy... Which guy followed me? Okay. Ah, it didn't do enough damage. But where is he now? Yeah, I didn't have enough souls, basically. So, it does not max out at 2000. At least we have that data now, what a lot of people said. At the very least, we now know that that's not true. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay. Good. Okay, the final stretch. Ooh, it's a little scary next to those spikes and without being able to run. Okay. Only the red phantom remains. Ooh, good thing I rolled. As long as I can get up the ladder, I can kill him after sitting at the bonfire then, that's fine. But I need to at least get up the ladder. Alright, that's fast. Oh, whoa, whoa. I need to light the bonfire. Please, light the bonfire. Light the bonfire, light the bonfire, light the bonfire, light the bonfire. That counts, right? Even if I can't sit on it. It's not Dark Souls 1 after all. Okay, that's good. That's fine. That's okay. That is okay. That's okay. We made progress. We made progress. I'm happy with that. Alright. Well, that took over 4 hours in total. But I finally found my life. I'm finally free. Well, not exactly. But Old Iron King using magic is even easier than using melee. So he shouldn't Iron keep us from progressing anymore. Although he is the king of Iron, but Iron not at all. Fuckalicious, I can't believe that actually hit me. What a royal pain in the ass. But at least then we did finally score a goal against the Old Iron Keeper. Despite the fact that we went overtime. So, what is my reward for going through all that misery? Well, going back to the Last Sinner for many more hours of misery. In fact, I have so many failed attempts and failed strategies that I tried out that I'm honestly not even going to bother summarizing it all. In short, we tried everything and nothing worked.
Oh, yeah, snibbity bat my bumhole.
The thing is that it was imperative that I could one-shot the pyromancers while surviving myself. But even when I said fuck it and I just leveled all my stats except vigor and endurance of course, all the way to 99, I still couldn't guarantee it. Not to mention that they can dodge any projectile, and I honestly didn't even notice a real meaningful difference from leveling up to max. But using Climax and making the mistake of picking up my bloodstain from before gave us the idea to intentionally leave a bloodstain with souls in the room. So that with the pyromancers around, I wouldn't have to pop another soul and leave myself vulnerable in the process. And in order to truly maximize my damage output, I was also wearing the engraved gauntlets. And eventually I decided to simply ignore the pyros altogether, since they would likely dodge my projectile anyway. So then it was simply about farming for the right RNG. Constantly on the edge, but getting closer and closer. Until that one final explosive and satisfying climax. No! What the hell? Dude, what the fuck? Critical! Critical! Yeah, was that a critical? That was a critical! That was a critical! That was a critical! We won! We won! That was a critical! That was a critical! Okay, apparently the pyromancers don't automatically die, but it doesn't even matter that much anymore. She is dead. She is dead. That's fine. A waste of souls, I suppose, but that doesn't matter. We have a whole bunch of souls for the bright box anyway. It's about fucking time. That was a critical. Oh. Well, now we finally gained access to the castle, it was very tempting to simply stick with range attacks for as much as possible. But then again, that is also kind of boring, right? So when I reached the double dragon riders Bimmy and Jimmy, I chose to switch back to melee. After all, what we learned about this type of enemy is that they cannot hit you when you're directly behind them. And, oh yeah, fuckalicious. Well, that aside, I actually had to switch between the type of melee weapons I used for each rider. I used the Old Iron King Hammer to maximize my damage against Bimmy. Powerful but slow, giving me just enough time before Jimmy could catch up to me. And powerful enough that it would only require 3 hits. But that it wouldn't drain Bimmy's health low enough that he would quote-unquote run out of arrows and switch to his halberd instead. Then for Jimmy I switched to my double barbed club setup, which is a little faster, yet still does a decent amount of damage. Now of course bleed has nothing to do with it, these weapons simply work well with my fashion. And of course while sticking behind him I made sure to very tactfully, very strategically and very skillfully get lucky enough to not again get hit while directly behind him because of hitbox fuckery. I mean, I already had to suffer the fact that I completely forgot to pick up the Praise the Sun gesture. You know, because of tradition. Well, at the very least, dealing with the mannequins wasn't a bunch of fuckery this time, given that those two also have a tradition of becoming obstacles in many other challenge runs. However, none of my runs have included Horsefuck Valley before, but this time it was the premiere introduction of Horsefuck Hallway. After all, I cannot run, so I cannot make it to the Mirror Knight without first killing every single one of them. And there is no horsing around against these living chess pieces. Unless you hit them before they become active. Not sure that's because it counts as instability damage or something, but it does make sense to me that an inactive horse is unstable. Regardless, since I was very worried about Mirror Knight's combos, given that I cannot dodge multiple times in a row, at least probably not fast enough, I expected that this would take many attempts and that I would have to despawn all of the horses in order to have a consistent clear way back to the fog wall. However, since I had Crystal Soul Spear equipped anyway, I wanted to see how effective or ineffective magic would turn out to be, given that this boss can reflect projectiles back at you. However, as it turned out, he didn't put any effort in actually doing that. Sure, on occasion I would simply happen to hit his shield, but for the most part, all of my shots went through. Which meant that I defeated him without much effort at all. Yeah, I know how I said before about, using ranged attacks is less fun, but first of all, I'm a fickle fuck. And in all fairness, after all the suffering I experienced against the Sinner, I can definitely still very much look at myself in the mirror, even if this was a little cheesy. And hey, my channel is almost 8 years old by now, so another 7 years of bad luck is something I should be able to deal with. However, will the same apply to the dreaded dread I was dreading, given that the dreadful depths of Shrine of Amana were up next? And if the idea of going through this area with only one stamina point gives you stamina, then that's a very reasonable response. I mean, if you want to point out an area of pure annoyance within this franchise, then Amana is a shriny example of one. This requires a very slow and very sneaky approach, as every obstacle that this area presents you with is an unwanted present that you want to pin a bow onto. And with a little luck, that might allow you to take the incoming Archdrake pilgrims down before you would have to smash them down into the ground melee style. Because remember that these guys can cheat, as they are able to block and attack at the same time, even though their weapon type wouldn't allow that, nor does the animation that comes along with it make any sense. Now for the middle section, the butterfly set allowed me to take the high ground despite the fact that I cannot run in order to jump. But the main problem, other than the fact that it's easy to overlook one of the dark beasts hiding in the water, which might imply that they then sneak up on you, is the fact that the final group of Archdrake arch-enemies all get aggroed at the same time. And I don't think I would be able to deal with 3 of them at once. However, finally, the Great Bow would actually prove useful, because it has much more range than a regular bow. And because of that, I could somewhat separate them by making use of the invisible line where they are programmed to return to their original positions. Oh fuck, uh-oh. That's not good. Oh, I aggro- uh-oh, I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm dead! No! I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I got extremely lucky. What the fuck? This is payback from the Lost Sinner. This is payback from all the pain against the Lost Sinner. Oh my god. It's because I'm wearing the power of the pooper. That's the reason. Now I understand. Oh! Ah! No! Are you kidding me? I was defying fate by saying that. Shut the fuck up. No. No goddamn fucking way. Good. Still not that. Still not. It's literally stuck in his body, but it counted as a block. Okay, interesting. Fuck, I missed. That's better. Okay. That means every obstacle is out of the way. Oh, however, I don't know if that healer can do an attack. I don't think so. But just to be safe, let's see if I can kill her before she heals. Ah, just in time. Just in time. Yeah, that caster's not firing. Okay, good. Okay, we made progress, guys. We made progress, but we still have one more area before the boss. I mean, there's a phantom that spawns in. I might get hit in the back also, so... There's a healer there, so I probably won't be able to just kill all of them. Or maybe if I use a great bow, she won't get the time to heal, because then I can at least get rid of the casters. Let's see if that even works. I don't know, actually. Are they coming all the way over here? Okay, that's the end of the healer. Okay, good. So, let's get rid of the casters. Yeah, you don't want to use a great bow against them. Then you can't move out of the way in time. Okay. Ah! Ah! Oh! Holy fuckalicious fucking tracking, curling, flip, flop, 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 flop. No! She still got me. Oh my god. And now we have to watch out for the projectiles curling around the corner of this cave. As I was saying, I even rolled that it still hit me. Fucking dude, fucking fuck. So I guess we'll have to try force. Let's see if that works. Huh? There's still a caster? Where did that caster come from? Dude, there was still a caster there. I didn't even know. What now? No, yeah, we'll die now. I didn't know there was another caster. Hopefully this works. Don't hit me from off screen, please. And now all of a sudden the arrows don't hit anymore. Son of a fuck! What's up with the hit detection? Okay, no one should be able to shoot me in the back anymore. Uh-oh, a dark beast. Huh? I have the wrong spell equipped! Fuck! I still had Crystal Soul Spear equipped. Forget about the cast on the back. Hopefully that doesn't make much of a difference. Huh? And now all of a sudden I get attacked. That didn't happen before, but no. Now all of a second I... How inconsistent is that? Oh wait, let's just make sure I clear literally everything out then. Okay. The Force Miracle. Let's just get rid of the... Oh fuck, oh fuck, fuck! He already spawns! No! No, no! He already spawned... Why does he already spawn there? Come on. Force. Now I have Force selected, so let's not deal with the Dark Beast then. Come on. Ah! Finally! Okay. Son of a fuck up the fucker. Okay, we made it to Demon of Song. No! No! The fast hop forward! That's exactly what I was afraid of. When you cannot take damage, that's basically the only attack that gets you killed. You know, in previous runs in which you otherwise cannot take any hits, I would simply turn around while having Gower's Ring equipped, you know, in order to mitigate the damage. Or since it's a frog, to cure mitigate the damage. Of course, that's not even an option with only a single health point. Okay, worked out. Okay, good. Without the invader, it's fine. That is definitely helpful. Very good. Ah! Whoa, 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 whoa! Not very good. Jesus, motherfucker! No, no, there's another one. There's another one. Oh, inconsistent iframes on when opening doors. Ah, this game. What a game. Oh, and it starts with the... It literally starts with the stupid hop for... Shut the fuck up. Fuck up the fuck. What a bunch of bullfuck. Or bullfrog in this case. Okay, one more attack, please. Yeah? Okay, no water spit. Awesome. Just finish it. Fuck you. Ah, we're finally out of this stupid area. Oh my lord. And one more. And we're finally out of this fucked up fucking fuck place of fucked up fuckness that can go fuck itself. Bye, Shrine of Amana. I definitely hope that that it will be a long time before I have to come back here. You know, meaning that the next Dark Souls 2 playthrough will probably be late next year. On a side note, did you know that Malencia will not sell her final stack of Bright Bucks unless she is in Majula? However, this only applies to the final stack after defeating the Mirror Knight. I guess I could come up with some sort of a lore reason for that, but then I might be overthinking a simple oversight. However, it's also easy to overlook what it is that triggers the ghost to appear in the hallway before Velstad. Because that happens because of 3 hollows that will ring the bell that summons them. Lots of people don't even know that, and for those who knew but didn't remember, it might ring a bell. But in my case, this is vital information since I cannot run. So it was essential to prevent that from happening. However, I was definitely completely overthinking the fight against Velstad himself. Trying out things like poison and toxic due to his increased defenses in the second phase. But once again, remember that those do almost meaningless damage anyway on NG+7. In fact, I was even better off going for dual spears instead of dual clubs. Since I benefited a lot more from the additional reach, and the counter damage would make up for the lack of strike damage. So, once I stopped overthinking it, it didn't take that long before I got the message victory achieved. Although in my opinion, someone should mod that into Great Enemy Veldstad. On the side note. There we go. Hey, Kingy. How you doing? Still better than me. I mean, he looks better than me. I mean, not better than my character, but better than me in real life. That's for sure. Yeah, he looks in better health than me. And also in better mental health than me. Alright, so now we have access to Alia's Keep, which is a major improvement over Iron Keep. That's for sure. In fact, I wasn't even remotely worried about the Guardian Dragon anyway. Kind of a throwaway boss that I planned on quickly blasting my way through with range attacks. So that I could hit it even while up in the air. Not exactly an honorable duel, but for this fight, who cares, right? On guard, Ian. So, yeah, then the obvious thing that happened is that I died because I couldn't avoid the fireball without running. Heck, I couldn't even rely on range attacks because the sideways fire breath is unavoidable without running either. Fuckalicious, is nothing in this playthrough not an obstacle? Well, it wasn't that dire. As long as I already was moving to the side at the right distance, I could in fact avoid the fireball. And I simply went back to the tried and true Miyazaki approved approach by attacking its feet. Still in the end not much of a feat on my end, but at least resulting in its defeat. Okay, let's switch back to resonant weapon. Oh, of course we have Smaldia. Fortunately, it's also a small knockback. Oh, hey, Babsa, is this not cute? Small Alia. Or better said, Smaldia. Now, speaking of honorable duels, the Dragon Shrine area is supposed to be a test to show yourself worthy of meeting the Ancient Dragon. Not sure how this here exactly qualifies, but given that especially the mace guy has infinite stamina, and I only one, I'm not exactly complaining. However, the Dragon Champion guy was a completely different story. He has like 1,000,000 health, you can't damage him while he's on the ground, and if you wait until he gets up, he can simply roll out of the way. But the problem is that I simply have to fight him, because without running, there's just no way that I can possibly get past the guards at the end, right? Huh. Well, never mind I guess. In a roundabout way, that is still a way to show yourself worthy to meet, well, one of the lamest bosses in the entire franchise. That we're definitely not going to be fighting. Well, then again, the next boss is also one of the lamest. But that one we are required to fight. However, we finally encountered something again that does not turn out to be an unexpected obstacle. However, there was one fight I was dreading the most for the entire playthrough. The duo fight against the Throne Wanker and the Throne Defecator. Even at a regular level 1 playthrough, you don't have enough stamina to dodge the Wanker's free hit combo, let alone with only a single stamina point. However, as long as you don't lock on, you can dodge away from them. Meaning that ranged attacks might be viable, given that I don't see myself luring the thrown wanker over the edge, since I cannot block with a shield for obvious reasons. Now the problem is that they have shields as well, which could even render my most powerful spells useless. Regardless, I use the same approach as against the Lost Sinner. Leave a bloodstain with souls inside of the arena, then quickly blast the thrown defender before they could reach me, quickly popping a soul in between, which unfortunately required a ton of RNG farming. Then I use Crystal Soul Spears to get the defender's health low enough so that he will put away his shield. And I would also get the Watcher's health low enough that he will die from 2 casts of Climax. Then I made sure to finish off the defender first, since he has the most health to begin with. Blast the Watcher with Climax using my current souls. Then I almost fucking died by getting too close to the wall. But I did manage to acquire the souls for my bloodstain in order to do one final climactic climax for a climactic climax to the fight. And that perhaps looks easy and straightforward, but it still took an hour and a half in order to get the required RNG. But by doing it like this, the one fight that I dreaded the most for the entire playthrough was still easier to get through than the Lost Sinner, or heck, even Mipha, which I never would have expected. Now, I did expect Nashandra to be easy enough. After all, you're not even required to get near her cursed orbs to begin with. Heck, even without range attacks, you could still just wait for her to come to you instead. Although that might result in her just spamming her laser. But to be fair, that one is so slow that there is no danger of getting hit by it. Thank you, B-Team. You think there might be a tiny discrepancy between the hitbox of the laser and the actual animation? Well, using my own dark laser beam, as in Climax, wasn't really an option this time because of her immense dark resistance. But then again, jank aside, she is a very anticlimactic final boss fight anyway. One final giant number 2 to the equation of my 1 health and my 1 stamina. So in the end, that did feel like a little bit of a letdown after such an achievement. Now of course, this is only the any percent route of the game. So maybe, very big maybe, I will come back at some point for the optional content and the DLCs. Well, at least if I lose even more of what remains of my limited brain functionality. After all, I'm already stupid enough to also go and try out Dark Souls 3 as the next 1 HP and 1 stamina NG+7 challenge. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this massive fuckfest of complete fuckfestery, because I'm not sure that I did. But the reason I do this to myself is because there is something severely wrong with me, and the fact that you are all sadistic enough to watch probably means that you can relate to that sentiment in one way or another. So, see you next time, and now I'm going to, vomit a little bit or something. Or have a giant number 2.